Some great information for you all. My name is Kathy Young. I'm the Director of University Relations at the American Heart Association. I'm going to be joined by some friends here soon who are going to share all the tips and tricks of how you can get an internship at the American Heart Association. But I want to kind of kick us off with some information, let you know a little bit about the American Heart Association. And so as we talk about, how your future can start here and you can intern with us at the American Heart Association. So many of you are probably familiar with us and our background a little bit, but just to kind of, share a little bit more, at the American Heart Association, we believe that everyone deserves the opportunity for a longer, healthier life. And so for 100 years, it's been our mission to fulfill that vision. Working alongside a global family of volunteers, donors, and advocates, we're transforming the way the world understands, treats, and prevents cardiovascular diseases and stroke. With bold hearts, we now forge into our second century, fueling science and innovation, funding life-saving research, and boldly standing for the rights of patients and caregivers to empower healthier communities and transcend the way we live, work, and play. One bold example is that we've set a goal of doubling the survival rate of cardiac arrest by 2030. Now, to reach that goal, we're building a nation of lifesavers that prepares and empowers bystanders to become a vital link in the chain of survival and provide CPR. We are making healthcare smarter and more accessible because we are committed to advancing health and hope for everyone, everywhere, because our future is about improving yours. Now, I know many people would love to make a difference when they go to work. Well, we do. At the American Heart Association, our interns save lives. It doesn't matter what your role is, whether it's in accounting, fundraising, or public health, you're helping to save lives. We hear it all the time from survivors. Without the American Heart Association, they wouldn't have survived. So it takes all of us to make this bold vision a reality. Now, if that sounds exciting to you, then we hope you'll consider joining us and listen in to the tips and tricks we're going to give you today. A little bit more about our guiding values. You see them up here on the screen. I'm just going to highlight my favorite. You all can read. I don't need to read to you. So my favorite, though, is meeting people where they are. That one really resonates with me. I like that the American Heart Association doesn't just have one message and expect everyone to be able to hear that message, but we really customize and make sure that how we are treating people and how we're meeting them in the community and elsewhere resonates with them. And I think that that is a really important thing. And we do that for our staff as well. We really try to make sure that when you're an employee at the American Heart Association, we're meeting you where you are with, being a hybrid work environment, whatever that might be. We're trying to make sure that we're a welcoming, authentic work environment. And so what about the internship then? Let me talk a little bit about what being an intern at the Heart Association can look like. First off, we have internships across the organization. So no matter what your major is, the chances are we have an internship for you. That can be anything from human resources to marketing communication to our IT department, which we call business technology. Maybe you're interested in sales. We certainly do a lot of fundraising here. So that's a big need that we have, whether that's in grants or whether that's in direct event fundraising. Maybe you're an event planner. We certainly put on a lot of events here as well. And then we also do, obviously, public health. So anything community health related, maybe advocacy is what you're interested in, whether it's public policy or advocacy in the ground at the grassroots level. We have those opportunities as well. And then data science, evaluation, lots of different professional education as well that we're doing. So no matter what, again, what your background is, the chances are we have, at some point, we'll have an internship for you. Each department requests their own interns, and they're different every single cycle that we have interns. So if you don't see something that comes up in one cycle, it might come up in the next. And so let's talk about when our internships are available. We offer them in the spring, summer, and fall each cycle, and you can see what the dates are there. So the next time that we will have internships available will be for our spring session. We've already hired for our fall class, and we do have our spring ones that will drop and go live late September, early October, but we wanted to provide an opportunity for you all to engage with us now. So to be one of the first people to hear about when our internships go live, you can use the link in the chat to go to our Way Up company profile, and there's a resume drop there. It is called 2026 Internship Position Submit Interest. When you see that link on the Way Up page, you can click that and you'll be able to drop your resume, and you'll be one of the first people then that we'll contact to let you know when the internships for the spring go live. And again, if you don't see something that works for you at that time, check out our summer internships or our fall internships, and you'll be able to list what session you're interested in as well. So lots of opportunities there. A little bit more about our internship. We offer, all of our roles are part-time, so it doesn't matter if it's during the school year or during the summer. They're all part-time, about 20 to 25 hours a week, and we pay $23 an hour for all of our internship roles. We have both hybrid, where you're going to be needed to be in a certain location close to an office, an AHA office, to work locally for those events. So that would be hybrid. You'll have some time to work at home and some time to be out in the field in the community. And then fully remote internships as well, where your location doesn't matter, except that you must be doing the work within the US. So if you are doing a study abroad, even though it's remote, you have to be located within the US to do our internship. We also offer a lot of professional development topics, and I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder because I've got some former interns and current interns that are going to share more about the professional development that we offer, but we offer a lot opportunity for you to personally grow as well as get that hands-on experience with your manager. We offer a lot of nationwide networking opportunities, not just with the other interns, but with professionals across the organization. And we even connect you to folks that are alumni from your university so that you can get to know those people that are at the Heart Association as well. We have a special platform called Heart U, which is our learning and development platform, and it has over 100,000 resources on it. If there was ever a leadership book you wanted to read, we probably have it. You can download it and read that. Or you can even get the executive summary of that book. Maybe you want to get better at Excel. There's a class for that you can do. We have many interns that are preparing for their project management certificate. All of those classes are there as a free resource so that you can prepare for that test. So many of our interns really get into this resource to continue to grow on their own. And then we also have access to a certified career coach that you'll be able to utilize. You're going to meet her here in just a minute, and she'll be able to talk about how you can improve your resume, how you can work on that full-time career search, and even prepare for interviews. So lots of opportunity for growth throughout the program. But that sounds great. Let's hear from some real folks. So I'm joined today by Josie Bailey, Rodrigo Gonzalez, and Heather Jackson. I'm going to have them introduce themselves and a little bit about their role and their journey at the Heart Association. So Josie, Rodrigo, Heather, welcome to our session here. And Heather, my teammate, I'm going to have you kick us off a little bit here. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Kathy, I am Heather Jackson. I am the recruiter and career coach for University Relations. I'm going on 3 years here, but it's very exciting. I can't imagine working anywhere else, and I'm just always eager to learn more about the people that we're in our career fairs with.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather. Rodrigo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rodrigo Gonzalez. I am currently the Marketing Communications Director here at American Heart in Des Moines, Iowa. And I'm originally from Texas. I see a lot of Texas here, so let's go Texas.
Awesome. And Josie.
Hey guys, my name is Josie, and I've been an intern at AHA. Oh gosh, I guess this is heading into my 5th internship, so seen a bunch of different things here, but excited to get to talk to you all more.
Awesome. So I love that. So we had Josie and Rodrigo come in because, again, they have some extensive experience with us. They both have done multiple internships with us, and then Rodrigo now has graduated and is in a full-time role. And then Heather brings the recruiting experience as well as the career coach experience. So we're going to be answering a lot of your questions, but I also selfishly have some questions of my own to kick us off a little bit. So Rodrigo and Josie, I would love to hear if you can share just a little bit about your time, as an intern over the year and kind of, some things that stood out to you that helped you grow. Rodrigo, maybe you can go first.
So what really stood out to me as my time as an intern was how often I got to work with my boss, and it wasn't just busy work, it was actual work that helped him complete actual tasks. I got to do some materials for events, materials for outside events, for board meetings, for our board itself, and it assisted in storytelling of survivors in our area, which was really great for like my experience. In my second internship, I saw a little bit more of everything. So in my first internship, I was marketing communications intern, and in my second one, I was development communications intern. So I got to see the more fundraising side of the organization, which helped me understand it and work better in both aspects, seeing what are the needs of the development side that the marketing can fill without me asking, just because I started learning it.
Josie, what about you?
So I started my journey with AHA last summer in the Louisville office, and it was my first internship here, which was in development and community events. So similar to Rodrigo, got to see a lot of hands-on activities, which I honestly wasn't prepared for, but in the best way, learned so much. Then from there, one thing that stood out as I transitioned into a new internship with advocacy, I did not feel like that was an area I was confident in, but through the help of Heather and Kathy and then the Louisville team itself, they encouraged me to apply even when I did not think that was something um, that I knew enough to apply for. After that, in the spring, I headed into an innovative fundraising role, which I had no idea even existed. So, had been at AHA for 6 months, and every day I learned about a new job or a new intern that this place had because so many working pieces to make AHA the incredible organization it is. And then from there, this summer, I headed into our corporate relations team, which again, an area I was not too familiar in, but did I learn so much because I wasn't even remotely an expert in that and got to see a lot of working with NFL in the way that American Heart and them work together to just promote heart health. And then coming into the fall, my networking actually from getting to have like meetings with people who graduated from your university. So I'm going to be a senior at the University of Kentucky, and AHA connects you with alum who graduate from your university. And I got to talk to people who live in Lexington, and they ultimately helped me get my internship for this fall in the Lexington office.
Awesome. You both have had different roles. You both had different experiences, and I think that we hear about that from interns a lot, where they're able to really build more skills than what they thought. And I think Josie, I heard her say a lot of times, right? Wasn't an expert in that. I didn't think I could do it right. And so we're willing to coach, I think you could say, right? How the managers are willing to be there to support. And so those basic skills are important. And, Josie and Rodrigo, I know that they showed qualities on their resume, right? That is the number one thing, Heather, that we're looking for is those resumes have to stand out, and we hire for so many different ranges, right? What skills a manager might look for in public health are different than in advocacy and different than in fundraising. But can you talk about some qualities or skills that managers look for, holistically at the organization? How would you answer that, Heather?
Yes, again, great question. Managers are really looking for interns that are curious, willing to learn, coachable. You'll hear us talk about coachable a lot, and adaptable. With Josie's example, she's done several different types of internships because she was adaptable. You don't have to come in as an expert. What really also makes you stand out is the enthusiasm you have, initiative, and the ability to communicate well. They really also value reliability and collaboration. So interns are often contributing to projects that will connect them across different teams. So that collaboration and reliability is really key there too.
Awesome. I love that. And so, Josie, Rodrigo, it's been a while since you were originally hired, but can you think about, what the hiring process was like for you, some of the steps that you had to go through, and what do you feel like you did to stand out as a candidate, back in the day when you first applied? either one of you may start.
I can go first. So again, about a year ago was when I started, and I had never actually done an interview on like a video platform to some extent. So I saw the internship, was really interested in it because of event planning, and I'd had event planning with nonprofit internships before. I went through the process of like submitting my letter or cover letter and my resume. I think with that, I really try to tailor my resume towards the actual internship itself. I feel like I have a lot of different experience in different areas, and I'm sure a lot of the people on this call do as well, in really figuring out what skills they would want to see and making sure that's reflected on my resume, even if it's something I want to include, what would be most beneficial to like the hiring manager. And then from there, when I had gotten the invitation to do the virtual interview, I was honestly pretty nervous because that is something I had not experienced before and wasn't prepared, but it gives you a couple of tries in case you mess up. And I honestly learned a lot from that, learned how to, I'm a big talker, so you have about like a minute-ish or something per video. So making sure I can say all I want to say concisely was really important. Um, but then from there, like I really just showed how excited I was. Heather mentioned that earlier. I think applying for an internship at American Heart, like there is so much to be excited about. Even when you're reading that description, I was genuinely excited about the opportunity to work with like-minded people who also had the same passion to just better lives. So I think when I was applying, I really tried to make sure um, to show how excited I was, but also did my research, made sure I knew exactly who I'd be working with and what type of things they were looking for, and just overall the culture of the American Heart Association. So I think those are my big things.
Awesome. Rodrigo, what about for you?
Yeah, I remember my first interview was last year, and it was a video interview just like Josie, and I was stressing out because I had done one before and it went really bad. They only leave you like one try to do it, and oh, it stressed me out. But this one was a little bit better because they gave you three tries. So I was a little bit more, I mean, relieving for that. It was still kind of terrifying because I also, like Josie, ramble on, and talking to a camera alone, I can ramble on for a lot. So I just remember I was really stressed out for that one. And then I got a second interview with Heather, which was a lot better because it was in person, or not in person, it was on Zoom, but like there was a person there to talk to. Um, and I also had a third interview with what was soon to be my boss, Brian Geelan. We actually had known each other before because I had thrown an event for my fraternity of a CPR event because I looked around, I was like, no one here knows CPR. If someone goes down, we wouldn't know what to do. So I contacted them to do an event there. So he had already worked with me before and contacted me, and that interview was just a fun conversation with a friend at that point, and it was one of the best interviews I'd ever done. And I remember I talked to both Heather and Brian after and later in my internship. And I said, why did you guys choose me? Like, why did you guys believe that I could do this position? And they're like, well, you had a good resume, your interviews were great, and also you were wearing a suit. I was really shocked about how many people don't wear a suit on their interviews. Highly recommend it. You don't have to wear the bottom half if it's just a video. You can wear the top half, be a little comfortable below. But that's what made me stand out from other people that weren't wearing suits. Uh, but it was pretty stressful. But I did my research and I took 3 deep breaths before I did it, which helps you just be in the zone. I do that before everything, so it's helped me. And yeah.
Great tips and great, it's funny at the American Heart Association, we're a nonprofit, but I always say, and I've heard this many times from other people, we are one of the most corporate nonprofits out there. We are a $1 billion company as a nonprofit. And so the image is important, right? And so while we definitely have business casual, we do all the things, right? Sometimes you're working in a storage unit, cleaning it out, and you are in shorts and a t-shirt, right? So every day is different. And we say to dress for the, business of the day. And I agree, Rodrigo, an interview, right? The business of the day then is professional, right? And so you understand how to show up, what to look like. And so I think, that's a really good tip. And I see that you're modeling that for us today. So, love that. Always a good look. So we've got some questions in the chat that I know I can answer super quick. If you are a recent grad, we definitely want you to apply. So we do internships for current students as well as recent grads, usually up to about 2 years after graduation is what's okay. We definitely take graduate students as well. We do have that interest form. I think some of the questions around how do we fill that out were before I sent the link. So the link has been popping up in the chat. If you go to our Way Up page, there is a job that's listed there that's called 2026 internship position dash submit interest. And when you fill out the information on that job, if you will, that is how you can submit your interest. And so that's good. Again, we have opportunities across the landscape. So data science, analytics, sometimes it's marketing analytics, sometimes it's other kind of corporate analytics, but definitely all areas for almost any major we have. And we can't get into specific qualifications because again, every job is different, but we do list those on the job descriptions, and it's important that you do tailor your resume for that. And so, yep, recent graduates are good. I will say, if you are a freshman, if you are an underclassman, it depends, I wouldn't say don't apply, but again, what is your experience level, right? So we tend to think of our internships as somebody's last internship, maybe not somebody's first internship, right? And so because we are so large, and the American Heart Association is a well-known name, we get a lot of applications. It is highly, highly competitive. And so, it's not that freshmen can't get hired. It's just that how much experience do you have? Is this your first real professional internship? You might want to think about a smaller company to apply to first. Heather, and actually Rodrigo and Josie, I would love for you to share a little bit about the professional development opportunities during the internship.
I'll go first. First off, there are so many. I felt like it was never ending in the best way possible. Kathy and Heather and anyone else on the I'm blanking. The relations team for this really go above and beyond and are so intentional about the way they help steward you so that when you leave in 3 months after an internship, you are a better version of yourself. When you left, you have better skills. Some of those being, we would have like this networking sheet. So at the beginning of your internship, you get to write down a handful of people in the organization you'd be interested in meeting with. So that gives you the opportunity to really look at the organization as a whole, different departments you might not have gotten to see or even know of. I know it said it earlier, but I truly, truly believe every day I learned about a new position or something new that AHA does. And it just kind of blew my mind at the beginning how big AHA was. So having those networking meetings were so helpful to just see other avenues of like careers. And then from there, you got to email these people, go over the list with your mentor and kind of figure out who would be best to like work with and kind of get to know more. They also have meetings every week or every couple weeks that Heather leads sometimes Kathy does. My favorite one was the resume workshop. So getting to really sit down and have Heather walk through the big steps of what she, as someone who is looking at resumes all the time, is looking for was so helpful for so many people who are graduating almost or going ahead and looking for jobs. Another thing that was really helpful is halfway through the internship, you have like a one-on-one meeting with Heather or Kathy to talk about just how things are going. And some of those conversations were my most meaningful conversations because I got to be like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do next. Like heading into postgrad, like what's coming, but also here are the internships I'm looking at next time. What are your thoughts? Here's my resume right now, getting to ask smaller questions to develop. But truly, those networking opportunities, I stay in contact with a lot of those people through LinkedIn and just like email, keeping up with them. And those have been so helpful. Just knowing when I graduate college, I have some people in my corner because of that opportunity that wouldn't have happened otherwise. I'm sure I'm missing a couple things, so I'm going to pass it to Rodrigo.
Yeah, as you can tell from what Josie was talking about, there's a lot of opportunities here as an intern here at AHA that they offer. There's meetings that happen every single week that help build your resume and help help you not just with your resume, but your professional development on how to deal with certain situations and building powerful partnerships with others. One of my favorite things that we did as an intern was these coffee chats. Every week there was coffee chats with other interns, and it was really good just to get to know what other interns were doing. And I mean, I had one with Josie on our past internship, and I had no idea on a bunch of things that she was working on that Kentucky does that Iowa doesn't, and everyone has been working on like different aspects of the organization. So coming together and just being like, hey, I learned this from our side and what we do here and with this event. Maybe this helps you, or maybe it will help me, or it's just a really good networking in the organization. I also had a lot of opportunities to work with our EVP of the Midwest as an intern, which was very exciting and very great because he's a very high up individual that I got to chat with a bunch of times throughout my internship and get to know him and get some advice from him. He's been with our organization since he first started as an intern. So it was really interesting to get his perspective on how the organization looks like from his side. And also, even in the work as development, I got to meet a lot of CEOs and a lot of different people here in Des Moines that are very important that I wouldn't have met if I wasn't in the internship. So it is there's a lot of aspects where you can learn and take from it.
Awesome. Heather, as a career coach, what advice can you share about focusing on professional development early in your career and why it's so important?
Yeah, I would say think about professional development as building blocks becoming that outstanding professional you're going to be. So start by being intentional about what it is that you want to learn, where you would like to grow. The earlier you build habits of learning and networking, the more doors you'll open for yourself in the long run. Josie mentioned that networking as well as Rodrigo. And professional development comes in different formats. So ask for feedback from your manager often, seek mentors, take advantage of training or stretch projects. And mentioning those things, that is why the American Heart Association's internship program is very robust, very structured, because we want to help you develop yourself as an individual. And again, as Josie and both Rodrigo mentioned, those could be the doors that lead you to that full-time position, that professional development you're gaining as an intern.
Awesome. So, Rodrigo and Josie, I mean, Rodrigo, you're hired. You're already full-time. So yes, internships can lead to full-time positions. Obviously, it's something that we can't guarantee, but we love to hire our interns, and Rodrigo is proof of that. He's graduated and ready for that full-time gig, and he got one. So we love that. But and Josie, as she mentioned, she's gotten a lot of different experiences and is thinking about how this might apply right later on post-grad. And so, we'd love for you both to share what impact the internships with the American Heart Association had on influencing your career plans. Rodrigo, maybe you can go first since you are there.
I mean, the obvious answer for this is that I have a full-time job now. Thank you for that push on the internship. And it also just opened a lot of doors of learning a lot more to what I was going to do after grad. I didn't expect myself to be still working in Des Moines post grad. I also didn't expect getting a job post grad. I was just going to go back home and to Dallas and live with my parents for a bit, looking for a job. But this has really influenced my career path just by, I mean, just loving the organization and still sticking with it. And I've learned so much from the internships I got here. And yeah, that's just the majority of it.
Awesome. Josie, what about for you? How has this impacted your idea of what your future career could look like?
Yeah, I came into the internship a year ago just being really excited and eager to learn everything I can and just ask questions and truly become a more well-rounded individual, but also just like coworker, all the things that encompass American Heart. But one thing I didn't expect was I came from a background of a lot of nonprofit work, just had a passion for it. Always loved healthcare, but you would never, ever, ever want me to be your doctor or your nurse. And I ended up changing my major because of this internship, which I thought was really special. I started as a marketing major, and didn't have a passion for it, but I could have seen myself working in it. And after my internship with the American Heart, I understood more of the clinical side, and how that can play hand in hand with events and fundraising. So I ended up changing my major to like healthcare administration, with a minor in nonprofit. So fully changed my trajectory of not just working in a marketing setting, but working for a nonprofit specifically or healthcare. From there, I had no idea about all that we do in advocacy. And while I didn't intend to ever work in advocacy, I got to like add that as something that helps me understand better, AHA as a whole and nonprofits as a whole. But it truly like not even did a 180, but like turned around what I was thinking to do with my life and saw that there was a meaningful work doing here, and just the joy that you feel of knowing you're doing something good every day, even as an intern, even only working 20 hours a week. I knew everything I did was helping people live longer, healthier lives. And the feeling that you get doing that is just truly different than the other internships I've had, where it's just more corporate based. So I can't now ever imagine not working for a nonprofit because of that.
Awesome. Great answers, guys. Doing great. I would love to shift a little bit to let people know a little bit about our company culture now. And so, Rodrigo, Josie, what stood out to you as an intern about the culture of the American Heart Association? Josie, you touched on that a little bit as a nonprofit and the mission base. Maybe you want to just kind of keep going.
Yeah, I will say these people here truly live out their mission. They are not afraid to make bold moves to do what's best. And most importantly, I think do what's right. When talking with my managers, I feel like we were always asking the question, like, what is the wise thing to do in this situation? And these people truly care about the mission more than anything. I don't think I've ever met anyone at AHA who wasn't willing to give me 5 minutes to talk, or willing to get to know me more, because they truly love interns. You'll meet anyone in any department, they'll be like, oh my goodness, you're an intern. Like, how's your experience been? Because they just know how incredible this program is and how special it is. Kathy's going to have to correct me, but I think we're the top 100 something of something amazing. But truly, I've never met a stranger. I can hop on a call, which can be intimidating on like a Teams or a Zoom, and not know any face, but get on and someone ask how it's going, want to learn more about me. But most importantly, even those connections I've made for one meeting, I still have people checking in, being like, hey, I remember you said this. How's it going? So the culture here is unlike any other. And in my mind, that's definitely one of the reasons I continue to stay and keep wanting to work at AHA, because I haven't found anything else like it.
Awesome. Rodrigo, what about for you?
Yeah, to expand more on what Josie said, the AHA really does listen and care about you as an intern, which was very crazy from from anything I've seen. I mean, I would always talk to my friends about their internships and mine, and it felt really different because they would be like, "Oh yeah, I had to go get coffee like 5 times today for the office and do this," and I was like, "Oh, like my boss just gave me a project to do and trusted me fully with doing it and helped me on my mistakes and told me why it was wrong and gave me actual feedback and started to build up my development that way. And it felt really reassuring as an intern. And also there was a lot of times where I would pitch something to my boss and he would be like, I don't know, but pitch it to try it out. Let's see what we can do. And I actually got 2 posts on the national Instagram for AHA when I was an intern posted. One of them actually got reposted by the Minecraft movie, which I was like, wow, I was like really excited because they actually took my feedback and took my ideas for a post and actually executed them.
Awesome. I love that. And Heather, I think, you coach obviously our interns, but then you continue to coach our early career staff as they navigate moving into that full-time role. And so what is it about our culture, that you feel really supports interns and staff who are early in their careers?
Yeah, I think at AHA here we have a culture of mentorship and inclusion. So as you've heard Rodrigo and Josie mention, they're encouraged, interns and new early in your career are encouraged to contribute ideas. And they're given access to professional development opportunities that other full-time staff are too. There's not that exclusion there. There's also a strong sense of mission, which gives early career professionals meaningful projects to work on while they're building their skills. And our organization 100% views our interns and our early talent as future leaders in their field of study, and we treat you as such. So you are a valued and respected team member at the American Heart Association.
Yay. Okay, now for the tough one. It's advice time. It's advice time. So what advice do you have for someone who wants to be an intern at the American Heart Association?
Mentioned this earlier, but be curious, ask questions, have that eagerness to learn more about the organization. Because I've been here for a year in total, and I bet Josie has been here. I bet Josie's been here for a year and has done more internships than me. But I personally still don't know everything about the organization, so I'm still curious. I'm still asking. No one expects you to be an expert in what you're doing, so learn and ask for feedback. Ask how you can improve. Ask what you can do better. Just be curious on how you could be the best self you can be.
Josie, what about you? What's your advice?
Yeah, such a great answer to follow that up. But truly, as you apply, really think about what you are wanting to get out of it and make it known in your internships. Not only do they want your skills, but they want you to grow as well. And I think that's one thing I learned throughout the process was they are so excited to have me, and I made that point, but they're Heather and Kathy are even more excited for me to gain knowledge to have in my backpack in my toolkit to use later on in life. And then being in the internship itself, I would echo exactly what Rodrigo said. I'm a big questions person. I have so many questions all at once, and these internships really taught me to narrow down my questions and ask really intentional and thoughtful questions to help me grow. And then besides that, just when you apply, I would really just recommend giving it all you have. Um, Editing that resume, kind of what Heather had talked about, making sure you're tailoring it, but just not being afraid. I would have never thought I would have gotten an advocacy internship, but it was because of my excitement for it. And I think my willingness to help Kentucky and just learn really stood me out from other candidates. So truly just believe in yourself. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Heather, what about for you? What tips would you give? What advice?
I say twofold. So if you're just trying to get that, you're wondering about your job application, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you're trying to get yourself hired, I would say definitely be persistent. And then what I recruited Josie and Rodrigo, what they said is true. They were so enthusiastic. In their video interview, it just drew me in. And then I guess to go back on that, their resume was very applicable to the roles that they were interested in. So that was the initial draw. And then just their enthusiasm and the respect and care that they showed for the interviews was extremely impressive. So that will definitely make you stand out. Once you're here, show up, be ready to learn, be ready to connect. My boss says a lot, you'll get out of it what you put in. And I think Josie said that as well. It's so true. Don't worry about having it all figured out. The internships are meant for exploration. So the most successful interns I've seen are those that take initiative, ask questions, and really invest in their relationships across the organization. Rodrigo and Josie both downplayed their skill level. Their skill level is exceptional. You are hearing from the best of the best today. They are amazing, and that's why they have the job. And Josie, I'm very confident will get several job offers when she's done with school.
Awesome. All right, Heather, I hope you're ready because we're gonna keep rolling with you. So now it's time to hear more about tips and tricks from our recruiter on how you can land an internship. So as a reminder in the chat, the link keeps popping up from Way Up to go to the Way Up American Heart Association page. And right now you can put in, you'll see a link for or a box that says 2026 internship position, submit interest. Those folks that submit interest will be among the first then to know when our positions go live. So you can see if there's a position for the spring that will work for you. But from there, once those things go live and you're able to apply, Heather's going to share some tips and tricks now on how to make the most out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can I improve my chance of having my resume reviewed? Absolutely take the time to tailor your resume to the job that you're interested in. And key in, read over the responsibilities that they're looking for and the qualifications that are in bold, those first few that you will see. Then go to your resume and think about how you can incorporate some of the knowledge that you have that would be applicable to the job. Do not be afraid of applying if you don't have an internship that specifically matches the job that you're interested in. We are looking at your extracurriculars. Maybe you volunteered somewhere, maybe you're in a sorority and you've done a little bit of the work. Again, you don't need to be an expert, but you will improve the chances of getting your resume reviewed if you really match your skills to the job and what the job is looking for. And then how can I improve my chance of going from the video interview stage to the phone interview stage? Be enthusiastic, be authentic. When it asks you why do you think you're the best person for the job? Again, go back to the job responsibilities for the job that you're applying to and think about, okay, this is what they're looking for. How does that apply? Definitely your enthusiasm, your passion are important, but really, if you're demonstrating in that video interview that you can do this, that you have enough of a knowledge, a little bit again is okay, to do this job well, that will draw us in because we want to connect you with the manager. And we connect those people that have the most relatable experience and also the most amount of passion and eagerness to learn. Because we want you to be happy as much as we want the hiring manager to be happy. We want this to be an experience that you absolutely love, even if the American Heart Association isn't the organization you spend your career at. That exploration phase that internships offer is what the experience we want to give to you. And then now we're going to talk about the application process so you can understand how that works with us. And then Kathy, yes, great. Thank you, Kathy. So first, review our open positions. That would be a tip that I failed to mention on the other slide. You would definitely, if you're interested in working with us, apply as soon as possible. So definitely going to Way Up and sharing your resume, telling us the areas of interest. And then once our internships go live, apply as soon as possible. We do have thousands of applicants per job internship that we're offering. So we want to give you as much opportunity to be reviewed. So what you'll do is after you see, maybe you're on Way Up and you're seeing some internships that you're interested in, wonderful. But then you're going to have to apply on our website. So we have that link there. It's also on our Way Up page. And that's where you will go to apply for your internship. I do believe, and Kathy can correct me later, I do believe you can click and within Way Up and it will take you right to that page. So I won't get into too much more detail than that. But then the second, so you're going to submit your resume. The second stage in the application process is your video interview. So after your resume is reviewed, we will select qualified candidates and they will receive an email invitation for a one-way interview. So after those candidates that are selected to do a video interview are reviewed, then the list is whittled down a little, and those that seem the most qualified are going to be contacted for a phone interview. So these people, again, are candidates who demonstrate strong qualifications during their video interview, and those will advance to the final stage, which is a virtual one-on-one interview through Microsoft Teams with the hiring manager. So the final selection is made after all interviews are completed. This is generally taking around 8 weeks or less from the start of when you apply to hearing whether or not you were selected for an internship.
All right, Heather, there's some good questions that have come into the chat that I think it would be good for you to maybe expand on. I typed in some answers, but
yeah,
one is, right, I want to apply to multiple jobs. I see lots of things that interest me. Can I do that? And more importantly, should I?
Yes, wonderful question. So I'm a very upfront, honest recruiter. So I will tell you maybe. And what I mean by that is if we see candidates that have applied to 20 internships, honestly, what that says to us initially is you're just looking for an internship. And yes, we know that you need an internship. We know that you want to earn a little bit of money while you're in school. So there's nothing wrong with that. But we're looking for passionate people. We want you to be happy in your role, and we want you to be truly interested in the role that you're applying to. If there's 3 or 4 different job application or internships that you're interested in, that's okay. 3 or 4 still tells us that you are interested. Oftentimes there's 3 or 4 different very similar internships that you've applied to. That is fine. Totally shows your passion and your interest in working with us. But when you start applying to more than that, it's a bit of a turn off for us just because we're worried that this isn't a good fit for you based on how many you applied to.
Awesome. That's great. All right. I'd love to bring Rodrigo and Josie back in for a moment as well. And I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, good. Rodrigo's not out of his suit yet. That's good. All right. I know I let them relax for a little bit. Awesome. I would love if you guys could share a little bit about a challenge that you faced during your internship. You know, I think this speaks to some of the skills that you need and that adaptability, right? And so maybe you guys can share. We're gonna do a challenge that you faced and how you overcame, and then we're gonna talk about your most rewarding projects, so you can kind of think about those. Does somebody want to go talk about their challenge first?
I can go.
Should
I
beat you
think
to it.
sorry. I think the most challenging thing for me was I started out in a hybrid role. So I got to go into the office a couple days a week and then we got to work remotely. Each internship is 20-ish hours to 25. So I kind of got the groove and it was summertime when I started. So I had no schoolwork on me. And then transitioning to the fall, I was remote pretty much for all of it and in school. So the balance of figuring out how to do my schoolwork and the internship and most importantly do it well and do it to the best of my ability. So early on in those first couple meetings with my manager, really talking to her to figure out the best schedule for both of us and the way to attend in-person meetings and everything that falls into that. So I got really overwhelmed that first week, but again, we talk about the culture here. My manager is incredible and kind of talked me down and was like, "Hey, you're doing incredible. Let's talk through why you're feeling this way." And then we like had our schedule in order. So I would say 1 week of a challenge was incredible because I stayed on for 4 more after that. So just really being open and honest with my challenge of, "Hey, I'm not I'm not used to this." Like kind of walking me through it. And I know that I also could have taken that to Heather and Kathy as well, and they just as well would have been able to help me walk through it because I was capable. And I think anyone can be capable of balancing it all, just doing it with grace and being humble about it. I think that was my thing. I had never been put in a position where I had to juggle a couple things on my plate. So just having to ask for help when I'm not used to doing that. But it pulled out in the long run because it's gotten me out of my shell to ask for help when I need it. Because that's something I think a lot of us might struggle with.
I think that's a great tip. Absolutely. Rodrigo, what about for you?
Yeah, I also struggled with my time management for my second internship. The first one was over the summer, so it was great. I had nothing else going on other than work. The second one, I had school in the morning, then work in the afternoon. So finding that energy of going to work and doing the best I could and doing all the projects I needed to do. But to not say the same challenge, our development director here in Iowa left halfway through my internship right before our heart walk. So that was a huge challenge my whole team had to face. How do we pick up the pieces? How do we maneuver and how do we continue to do our work to excel for our heart walk? So a lot of that was put onto me because I was a development intern. So I had a lot of more work to do on top of the whole schooling thing. So that was a huge challenge for me. So a lot of Red Bull, a lot of time management, and a lot of passion to what I was doing and knowing that it would have been worth it in the end because I was doing something good in the world. And a lot of help from my executive director. She helped guide me through conversations I had to do with our coaches for Art Walk, and a lot of back end work where it was a bunch of emails I had to send. So it was a lot of work for my team to support me doing that. So it was really great. And like Josie, talking about it with my peers and my team really helped them understand what I was going through and help me by supporting them.
All right, we have Heather has some frequently asked questions that I want to make sure we get to at the end to answer. So you guys are going to have to fight it out now to share what was a rewarding project that you worked on. What was your most rewarding project? Who's the first one to the buzzer on this?
I
Oh,
can do it
Rodrigo.
first on this
Okay.
one. So one of my most rewarding projects was in my first internship. In that summer, we were doing a big push for the campaign called Mission Stroke Lifeline. And this was really eye-opening for me because I'm not a person who really likes working from home. I'm doing it right now because it was our work from home day. We do have an office that I work from. But most of the internship at the very beginning was working from home, and I was liking it, but not really, because I was like working from home, waking up, going to the office, which was my desk in my room, and I felt like I wasn't getting out of my room. It was until we did the Mission Stroke Lifeline where I got to go out of the office. That was my first time going out. And it was really eye-opening because we got to interview a bunch of stroke survivors and create these videos of their stories of the impact they'll have from just going through the trauma they went through. And it was really eye-opening and really incredible to see their dedication on how they were going to move forward from this and why they did it. There was one that really stuck with me and is a really great story that I bring up every time I talk about whys, and it's Brian Clark. Um, this guy was a really athletic, really woke up every morning, exercised, really healthy guy, ate healthy, didn't really eat that much meat, had a stroke in the middle of the night. His wife saved his life. And since then, he's been paralyzed on the left side. He can't move anything in his left side. And for me, from my perspective, I'm like, wow, I'd be really down in the dumps. I wouldn't know what to do afterwards. But talking to this guy, and he was like, my daughter's getting married in 6 months. I'm going to walk her down the aisle. I'm going to do that. So he got directly into physical therapy, had the same attitude he had before, the happy-go-lucky. And even till this day, he's every time I see him, he's moving it a little bit more and more and more. And he is such an inspiration to me, and it was really one of the best projects I got to work on.
That is a powerful story and definitely makes an impact, right? It fuels you to go to work, right? People have those, I don't know what they're called, scary Sundays, or I don't know what they're Sunday scaries. So it's maybe something like that. I don't have them because I like to go to work on Mondays. So I see these people online like, oh, it's Sunday and Monday is sad. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy my long weekend that we just had. Don't get me wrong, I like my free time, but I don't, it's stories like that that make you want to get up and go to work because you know that the work you're doing is helping someone walk their daughter down the aisle. And that is super powerful. And it just is a great reason to get up and go to work every day. But Heather, we've got some frequently asked questions. Want to make sure that we answer everybody's questions today. I'm gonna let you tackle these.
Okay. So how long does it take from when I submit my application to the hiring manager's intern selection? I mentioned it earlier. It's generally within that 8 weeks. However, that is not the consistent number of weeks. So we generally don't run more than 8, but it could be 6, could be less than that. But it's while you have applied, you will be getting updates too. So you're just not in the dark. You applied once, then you didn't hear anything from us for a couple of weeks. We will have some updates for you throughout that process. And that answers the next question. Will I receive updates on the status of my application? Can I still apply if I have already graduated? Absolutely. For up to 2 years after your highest level of education, whether that's undergrad or grad school, please feel free to apply to our internships. We're interested. We know that the market right now is really hard. And so we keep that in mind and definitely view you as qualified for an internship, even if you've already graduated. Can I apply if I live in another country? Unfortunately, all of our internships have to be done within the US. So we do not have any internships that will allow you to be in another country and complete the internship program. Do you provide sponsorships for international students? Unfortunately, we do not provide sponsorships for international students.
All right. So I feel like we answered the majority of the questions that have come in. So I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see. If I've applied, there's one question that just came in. If I apply for an internship position at the AHA, what can I do to improve my chances for an internship that may be the same role or similar? Usually you're walking around. I'm not sure. Let's see. I think the big thing is just you want to make sure that anytime you apply that you're tailoring that resume, right? Just like Heather said, making sure that your resume and your experience really line up. That is the best way to improve your chances. Is that if a cover letter is not a bad thing to do, and it really can share different insights. If you have a story to tell that goes beyond your resume, like a personal connection to heart disease or stroke, maybe that should go in a cover letter, right? So there's definitely things that you can do. Our internships are going to be located all across the country, and they're different. They're different each cycle. So you'll need to wait until those jobs are posted to see that. And we will be posting again, our spring internships will be posted around the end of September, early October. So you'll keep your eye there. And again, the big thing is to go to the Way Up page profile for the American Heart Association and look for the box. I can show you that. This box right here, Heather, can you see my Way Up screen now? Okay, this box right here, 2026 internship position, submit interest. That's what you want to click on and follow the steps within that to drop your resume, and then you will be one of the first folks to know when those spring internships go live. We will also reach out, this is why it says 2026, we'll also reach out for our summer internships as well. So if you're not interested in spring, that's okay. We figure summer will still be pretty active for where you all are. And then we'll think about fall as well. You'll have an option to choose kind of what internship sections you're interested in. And so we'll use the list accordingly from there. But that said, I think we've run through a lot of information. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Josie, Rodrigo, really appreciate your time and sharing your stories. Heather and I, very grateful for all that you do, and as interns and now as staff members with us. And Heather, thank you for sharing all the recruiting tips and the coaching tips. And again, we're proud to be a top 100 internship program designated by Way Up in yellow, and we hope that you all will join us. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.